Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. We got a bold price target from Keith Fitzgerald still being touted on his latest Fox Business interview today, as well as a new Times article again featuring Alex Karp, who wrote it. So starting with the Times article, I won't read through the whole thing here. The main thing is that Alex Karp wrote this and shared his thoughts on the cultural landscape of the United States and the dangers especially around higher education right now. So if you've watched his recent talks, this is not secret and nothing new. And I would even say the sentiment across the country that higher institutions seems to have gone too far in one direction, away from the focus on academic integrity and nurturing of knowledge and deferring opinions and debate, especially with the recent conflict of Israel and Hamas, stirring up support for the group against the interests of the United States, if you just look at most people. Now, I'll leave you all to find it out in the comments regarding that, but I think Karp shares his opinions here, and as investor-wise, I think it's okay. And of course, it's going to stir some things up here, but it's not off-brand here, and he's consistent, which I'm appreciative of. Now, the coolest part that he provided here is a paragraph which provides a quote from a deputy saying to General Mattis that Marines are alive today because of the capabilities of the system, which is in reference to Palantir. So that sounds like an overwhelming value proposition and support for me, for at least for the U.S. government business. So it's a nice little tidbit there if you're interested in this Cardiff article. Now, for Keith Fitzgerald, he had a new interview up on Fox Business, and especially with the recent price action, they just had to get his take from Keith because he's already exclaimed in previous interviews already that he sees Palantir as a $50 stock. Now, here he says he sees it in a couple of years. I believe he might have said a few years before, and he continues to have that bold sentiment. Now, I don't think there's nothing exact here, but I'm sure of a bunch of Palantir investors appreciate the longer-term outlook here and explanation of the company if you look at the company past just the numbers, which I do still warn, of course, is still important, but with the growing number of use cases and wave of AI making its way across the country and all enterprises, why wouldn't Palantir at least participate in this? And he also talks about executives asking about AI, getting this at their organizations, and he even gets into trying to explain what Palantir is and why they're different than other tech companies. So I'll say he kept it pretty high level here, and of course what I've expected, saying they're the engine that actually improves customers with true insights. But I understand he's not technical and honestly would take more than a few words and sentences to synthesize it all down on what Palantir exactly does. But yeah, I think he gets the gist of here and the main value that Palantir brings. So I think it's always interesting to get these bold predictions here. Just be wary about it for your own personal stuff. It can still be bumpy in either direction for those watching in the short term and volatility, which watching closely really is against most long-term minded and everyday investors, in my opinion. Now, watching the chart is something I also try to personally avoid for my whole personal investing style, but making videos does make that a little bit harder here. But I hope my sacrifice for you all is definitely worth it. But I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.